guys, it's Miss Christyn, and today we are in the Fandom kitchen, or as I like to call it, my kitchen. Who wants to visit a faraway land today? We are going to visit Arendelle. Who likes Princess Anna? Who likes Queen Elsa? Well, if you're a fan of Frozen, just like I am, I think you'll enjoy today's special treat. We are making Pinwheel cookies inspired by the movie Frozen. It only takes a few ingredients, and luckily all of the ingredients I already had in my home. So let me give you guys a little tour. These are our ingredients for today. So I'm using 2 eggs, 3 cups of flour, 2 of which are already measured for me. I'm using 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 sticks of butter that are at room temperature. I have a mixing bowl and a spoon in front of me, and I also have food coloring, sprinkles, and wax paper for a little later. You can also use parchment paper too. And let's get ready to get started. Alright, so we're getting started. I'm going to take my 2 sticks of butter that are at room temperature, and I'm going to use my dough hook to get it nice and mixed together to make dough. And I'm going to drop my first stick of butter into the bowl. Plop. I'm going to cut it up a little bit so that it's all evenly distributed with my sugar. And I am going to get my second stick of butter and do the same thing again. Plop. Now that that's done, I'm going to add my sugar. I'm using a 1/2 cup, so I'm going to do 2 scoops. 1, 2, and I am going to drop my hook, and I'm beginning to stir. Stir, stir, stir. In about 5 minutes or so, it should be nice and fluffy. So before I move to my next step, I'm going to grab my phone and set a timer for myself for 5 minutes. Do 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 do. And here we go. 5 minutes, and now we can move on to our next step. I'm going to start getting my dry ingredients together. But first, I'm skipping a step. Once this is fluffy, I'm going to add my eggs and vanilla extract. But it's too soon, so we're just going to keep it moving. I love eggs, don't you? Alright, I got my mixing bowl, and I'm going to add my 3 cups of flour to my bowl. The first 2 are already measured out for me, so here's my 2-cup measuring cup. Voila! And I'm going to get my flour, and I'm using a 1/3 cup, so I have to add 3 more scoops. 1, 2, can't see, 3, awesome. And I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder 3 times because I need 1.5 teaspoons. But my baking powder is a little clumpy, so I'm going to shake up the jar really good. Shake, shake, shake. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And I need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to add that too. And I'm going to give it a nice, good mix. Has it been 5 minutes already? Wow, time really flies. All right, let's mix a little longer, and I'm gonna stir. Stir, 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 stir. Stir, 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 stir. I like to listen to music when I cook. What about you? I'm gonna stop my mixer for a moment, and I'm gonna clean off my beater, and I'm gonna wipe down my bowl. As you can see, our sugar and butter is very, very fluffy. So I'm going to add my 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Since I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon, I had to do two teaspoons full. And I'm gonna let that mix a little bit. And then I'm going to add my 2 eggs. Be careful, do not get the shell into your mix because no one wants to eat shells. So that's 1. Here's 2. Voila! And I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and we're going to wait until it gets nice and fluffy again. I love watching my egg beater work, but I feel like I need to clean up a little bit, so I'm going to whistle while I work. My mixture looks like it might be sticking a bit, so I'm going to clean off my beater, and I'm going to wipe down my bowl and make sure that everything gets mixed really good. Well guys, it looks like it's time to add our dry ingredients. So I'm going to slowly start scooping my flour, baking powder, and salt into my mix. And I'm going to be careful to avoid the beater so that I don't clump it up too much right from the start. But it's already starting to happen, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. And I'm going to continue. And it should get nice and thick. I love cookie batter, don't you? It's a lot of dry ingredients, so I have to take my time. Patience is a virtue. Now I can give it a stop, and I can clean off my beater a little bit because it's definitely sticking. And then we can start again. I'm going to go ahead and finish adding in my dry ingredients while I have a moment. Give it a good shake, try to get it all, and here we are. While my dough is getting nice and thick and mixy, I'm going to prepare for the next step of our instructions, which is taking my wax paper and preparing to separate my dough. So I'm going to get a nice big long piece and move all of my things out of the way. I'm going to move my camera back a little bit because everything's a little close and tight where I'm standing. And I am going to grab my rolling pin because I'm going to be needing that soon. Don't worry, I washed it and my hands, so everything is perfectly clean. And I'm going to turn off my mixing bowl, which you cannot see right this second. And I'm going to bring my batter closer. It's cookie dough! How about that? Who loves cookie dough? I love cookie dough, especially cookie dough ice cream. I'm going to get my mixing bowl, and I'm going to take off my rings because I don't want to mess them up. And I'm going to grab me blue food coloring because in Arendelle, everything is blue and green. So let's make blue swirls in our cookies. I'm going to get a good hand scoop of cookie dough, enough to make into a nice big ball, so hopefully it will be even. And I think that's about enough actually. All right, so let's add our blue food dye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, I used 6 drops of food coloring and it got stuck to my fingers. So I'm going to use a spoon and we're going to give it a little mix and let's see how blue it can get. It's It's really, really difficult to stir cookie dough with a spoon. So if you like getting your hands dirty, I would suggest using your hands. Just make sure they're clean. That's not enough. Let's add some more. 7, 8, 9, 10. Is 10 drops enough? Let's see. Stir, stir, stir. Stir, stir, stir. It's getting blue. It's getting there. But not yet. And it's on my finger. Whoops. Stir, stir, stir some more. And I think we need more food coloring. I want it to be really blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to stir again. I'm going to get it as blue as I can. And when a spoon doesn't work, try using your hands. I'm going to add some more blue. I'm going to roll it up really good and start kneading the dough. Just knead a little bit more. Try to mix that blue as evenly as I can. And just keep going. Add a little bit more blue. I think I got about 30 drops of blue into about half of that dough. It should make about 48 cookies. Give it a good stir and start working it a little bit more with my hands in a second. It's getting a little difficult to stir because it's nice and thick. So let's give it a couple pinches. Give it a good squeeze. Try to roll it into a ball. Make sure I get all of it. And once I think I've got it probably about as good as I'm going to get, make sure I get it all out of my bowl. And I should be ready to start rolling out my dough. So I'm going to lay it on the wax paper, clean up a little bit, and start rolling again. Make sure it sticks together nice and firm. Move my stuff out of the way because I've got some things in my area, and press it flat. And now I am ready to roll. So I can go back and forth. Just make sure that I roll it nice and smooth and get it as flat as I possibly can. It's a really great arm workout. You should try it. It's awesome. And now I can change directions and start rolling it that way because it's a little thick and chunky in places, and it can be thinner. You want it to be roughly the thickness of 2/4 together. So got to make sure it's nice and thin. And for those little areas where it's still lumpy, but it's gonna, if I flatten it anymore, it's going to slide off the paper. I'm gonna give it a little trim. And I'm gonna take my excess and put it somewhere else on the paper so that I can roll it flat again as well. Roll it into a ball, make it into a little patty cake, and press it down. And I'm ready to roll again. Just make sure you're doing even strokes. Otherwise, you'll have some nice chunky cookies. And when I'm ready, I can put my dough off to the side, and I can do the exact same thing that I'm doing right here with the dough that's still in my bowl. Because we're going to lay them on top of each other. But this one needs to rest soon, so almost there. Just going to roll it just a little more. And it looks good to me, I think. Let's see. Make sure. And we're good to go. Now I've got a brand new piece of wax paper here. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the remaining part of our cookie dough. Got to make sure I get it all out the bowl. And we are going to roll it and flatten it clean as soon as the bowl is cleaned out. Whistle while you work. Roll it into a ball again. Roll it really nice and tight, nice and firm, knead it a little bit. And now we can just press it onto our wax paper, fold it, press it down so that we have a good area to start rolling from, and begin rolling. Again, you just want to make sure that it's about the thickness of 2/4 and that it is even on all sides, so it's about the same width and height as the previous one. And I'm going to roll some more. Now that we've got a good section rolled out, and it's about the same size as the other blue dough, roll it a little bit more, make sure it's nice and thin in places. And I think we're almost good. I think we're good, guys. So I'm going to grab my blue dough and make sure it's about equal, a little bit more, but it's good. And we are ready to have it cool. So it's been in the refrigerator for a few minutes now, for about 10 minutes, and the instructions say to add water to both tops of the dough so that they sandwich together properly. So I am putting a little bit of water with a mop onto the tops of our dough. Again, you're going to put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes in between, and I'm going to give it a little flip. And plop. And try to straighten it out as best I can. It's not very flexible, so you can just from here just start making some trims, taking off excess pieces, and they make great marble cookies, so don't throw it away. Just, keep it off to the side for a little bit later. And I'm gonna cut it down to about the shape of a a rectangle, and move my excess out the way. And once I do that, we can start the fun process of rolling our pinwheels together, and they make really awesome mergers. Yes, they do. Cleaning up a little bit more of my excess because it's a little sloppy. My cookies are also still a little bit thicker than I like, but that's okay. Cookies are still delicious even when they're big. Move that. Make one last cut. Make sure, kids, when you do this with parents, that they are handling the sharp utensils if necessary, because I am not holding my knife properly. I'm adding a little bit more of my leftover cookie dough to places that need cookie dough for my roll. And I think we are ready, almost ready, to start rolling our pinwheels together. So we're going to turn the paper the long way, And I'm going to roll it into itself a little bit because I can't roll it with paper in the middle. So I'm going to slowly lift my cookie dough and begin rolling it into itself. And you want to make sure that that one end touches the other and there are no gaps. So you're going to roll it really nice and tight. Might take a little work, because as you can see, it's starting to break apart a little bit, but that's okay. Just keep rolling. Just make sure you're doing nice smooth rolls. And we're almost there. So now that this has been rolled together and it is solid, I'm going to pinch it in places to make sure that it's completely and totally together. And any ends that I need to trim, I might do that, but right now I'm just making sure that it's together and solid in one piece. I'm going to trim off a little bit of our excess, and I've grabbed my cake pan, and let's get our sprinkles. I'm going to take a bunch of our sprinkles and I'm just going to put it onto my cake pan, because we're going to roll our dough log in the sprinkles. And I'm going to do them kind of thick because I really, really, really like sprinkles. So do that. And then just be gentle when you pick it up, because it's still a little bit fragile. And give it a nice little roll. Cover the ends with nice, delicious sprinkles. Add some more where they couldn't stick. Pat them down. Roll it a little bit more. Just keep going. Almost got it. Every cookie should be completely covered in sprinkles, but my log's not going to look like that. My sprinkles are too tiny, but they're still delicious. Give it a good roll. Let's do the other side. These are by no means perfect cookies, guys, but they are absolutely delicious. Everything takes practice, so keep practicing. Getting all the sprinkles off my tray that I possibly can. And when I'm done, I will put my cookie roll back onto my parchment paper, or you could use plastic wrap if you have some. And I am going to put it in the fridge for at least another 20-30 minutes for it to cool. So that way it will be a nice solid piece when I'm ready to cut it, so that we can make our cookies in the oven. So into the fridge it goes. Alright, so it has been in the oven or in the refrigerator for quite some time, and I am ready to cut my cookies into pieces. So I'm just going to cut one, trying to make my cookies as even as I can. 2, and then I'm moving them out of the way, and I can put them on my clean cookie tray, and keep going. This cookie log should produce again about 30 to 40 cookies. I only did the first handful because that's a lot of cookies for me, but they're delicious. I've had a lot of compliments about them, at least from me today, because I've eaten quite a few already. So you're just going to cut them as evenly as you can and place them onto your cookie tray. And once my tray is full, I will put it into the oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes. And this is the final product. Don't they look delicious? They are amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day.